Welcome to Get to Know Glasgow, the podcast that tells you what you need to know about student life at the University of Glasgow, from those who know it best. I'm Alice, an international officer here at the uni, and in this series I'll be chatting to 2 undergraduate and 3 postgraduate students about their Glasgow journeys.
Hi, I'm Jessica.
I'm Aaron.
I'm Yessi.
I'm Shauna.
And I'm Serena. In each episode, we'll be sharing our experiences
and giving you our top tips
on everything from student jobs and budgeting
to making new friends.
So you'll know what it's really like to be part of Team U of G.
Let's get started.
Hello everyone, we are back today with another episode. So today we're going to be touching on all things careers, so what we wish we'd known about careers, part-time jobs, internships and volunteering opportunities. So all of that. Aaron, I'm going to come to you to kick it off about all things careers, if that's okay.
Yeah, so I was lucky, to be honest. I didn't realise how much the university actually offered in terms of either connecting you with jobs or offering out jobs. My best advice is using the careers service online. Well, I went on before you sort of have an option of like either part-time jobs, internships. There's so much available. My advice is just to go and explore that as much as you can. Also, like your course mates and stuff, like, you know, most people in your course, they'll have sort of parents or things who are doing jobs too in that sort of field. And if not, they'll have people that they know and stuff. So definitely use your network and use the career service as well, because there's so much there. It can be a little bit sort of draining going from pillar to post in terms of looking at emailing people and LinkedIn messaging, etc. But I always think the worst thing they say is no, and if they say no, that's okay. You can keep searching, and yeah, if you don't ask, you don't get, I guess. So if you keep asking, hopefully something can come up and get something somewhere, I guess.
Well, actually, I couldn't agree more with Aaron, because I also use the University of Glasgow Careers and Employability Service, which I've been using a lot. Now I have submitted my dissertation and I'm looking for a job. It's really helpful, actually, not just for part-time jobs, but also for planning for the future. Actually, through that service, I got my first part-time job here, which is as a student content creator for the University of Glasgow. It's been a fun experience because I know a lot of people, and then because I not only do I get to work while studying, but I also get to share stories and connect with other students. And now I'm waiting for my degree, and I also plan to look for next step in the application. Well, through this university career service, I also follow a seminar with someone from the FCDO, which give us advice what kind of things that we should prepare as an emerging professionals, and that's really helpful for me.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a really good pathway. It's definitely given me like a lot more opportunities in kind of the jobs I'd like to do. I'm now a social media intern for the uni, which is a fantastic job, and I found that through the Student Opportunities Hub, and I found so many like part-time jobs through there. I found a few before I even got into my internship, and honestly they make it so accessible, which is really, really great. I think a lot of the time it's often a bit scary when you're going into it, because you're like, oh, I don't know if I have like the necessary experience for this, but it's very much open-ended and kind of gives you that step to get that experience. And I just think overall, if you're interested or looking at things, it's a great place to start to kind of kickstart, oh, I like the sound of that, or I like the sound of that. It's a great way to kind of get into it.
Yeah, totally. I totally agree as well. I think the reason why I'm so fond of it is because when I looked on things like LinkedIn or Indeed, it obviously gives you jobs and it gives you roles of where they are, etc. But the student hub at sort of the university site, it gives you more student-based stuff. A lot of the internships on LinkedIn, I find, are sort of intern roles, can be like year-long, or they don't really work with uni timetables, or they kind of go from awkward months, whereas the student intern hub does give you a lot more sort of, it's more flexible around your studies. I think it can definitely, you can fit it in better, I think, with your time, rather than having sort of year-long things that you just can't really commit any time to.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. Like, this internship has been one of the most flexible like jobs I've had, and it's something I really enjoy. Like, it's really great to be able to be like, yes, I really like this, but I do have like my disc coming up, or I have this, and they're obviously so flexible to work around that, because I still get that kind of hands-on experience. But I agree, like LinkedIn and Indeed can be so tiring. I genuinely think I've once applied for like maybe 100 jobs and I've heard back from maybe 2. And it's like, I promise I can work. I just am like young and a student, but I'll try. But I think like the Opportunities Hub really does make working accessible for people. Like they aren't like, there's no discrimination there of, oh, you're just starting your studies. It's like, let us help you and get into that.
Yeah, and like the career service, they also give us like it's kind of make a CV and also how to make a cover letter, which is very helpful. Actually, my friends got a job here already because he usually can have a conversation with the career service, ask them how to make a good cover letter because like making cover letter in English is my second language, is kind of hard and kind of scary. And he received a lot of advice. That's why I also plan to message the career service like, do I write the correct cover letter and what about my CV? Because it scares me a lot actually.
Yeah, they're different everywhere as well, Yessi. Like cover letters and CVs around the world, everyone does them a little bit differently. So it's nice having a bit of support just to know exactly what you're looking for. I mean, when I first wrote a CV, I had to ask all my friends and see what everyone else was doing to get an idea of what actually looked good. So it's nice having someone who's actually experienced in that and not just other friends of my age who were doing it at the same time as me. So in terms of like, you're talking about like using the service and part-time jobs, obviously Serena, you've talked about kind of the internship that you've got through that way. Is there anything else kind of part-time job wise that anyone's found on these sites or further afield in Glasgow even?
Yeah, so I actually, obviously being from Glasgow as well, was here before university. When I just turned 16, I know it's maybe a bit more old-fashioned, but I wasn't really aware of things like LinkedIn or Indeed. I was like a 16-year-old kid still in school. So what I did was I just printed out my CV, like maybe 40 copies of it, and just went into all the shops in Barrows Road and just said like, here's me, I'm looking for part-time work. And I got like 2 or 3 responses. And like Trina said, like if you're going LinkedIn, you probably find that for every 100 applications, you might get 2 responses, one of which is probably going to be no. And if you get a yes, you're probably quite fortunate. So to be honest, I think that can also work, especially for sort of like just part-time student jobs like bar work, cafe work, anything like that. Just go in and be like, here's my CV, and if they don't get back to you, it's all right. But again, no harm in asking, I think.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like I think I did that too. I think my first like job was maybe me just walking in and being like, hey, I really like this plant shop and I would be good in here, so please hire me. And it was a great response. But I think a lot of the time, like you said, the worst thing they can say is no. And because of the opportunities and the careers and stuff like that, it's very easy to apply for loads of different jobs that maybe you wouldn't see if you were walking down the street. Because a lot of the times, some shops, do have the little thing in the window, but sometimes you don't see it or they maybe don't have it. And it kind of gathers them all in one place and then you can apply. I just really like that you can literally apply for anything and they usually will respond. Even if it is a no, it's still a response, which is nice. Sometimes I feel like LinkedIn and Indeed, you're applying and you hear nothing, not even like a no. You're just sitting there waiting and you feel like you've been ghosted. But I remember the fond days of handing all my CVs in, and people tend to kind of really like that because they get to see you at face value and be like, oh, they're willing to do this and take that step. And it's kind of nice to know.
Yeah, that's ideal, Serena. And I feel like in Glasgow, you've got obviously kind of bigger companies in Glasgow. There's lots of different opportunities, but especially for part-time jobs where it's maybe a smaller shop or cafe, where it's more of an independent kind of place where there could be part-time job opportunities, and it could be even better for a student in terms of maybe the hours that they need, or be a little bit more flexible if they just need extra help during summer, maybe when it's a little bit busier. So yeah, there's always these different kind of ways that you can go about things, and that's what's nice about having both the career service but also speaking to other students who've been through those kind of processes of what you can try if you are always hearing no, or even worse when you're not hearing anything back, which I've been there as well in my life. And although it happens to everyone, it doesn't feel any better sometimes for the individual at the time when you're putting effort in. So it's like trying kind of all these different methods really could kind of make a difference in terms of that. But also just going in and maybe speaking to someone in the career service, if you are kind of hitting that wall, I suppose, kind of speaking to some of the kind of the peer careers support team that we have there, and also the career support team. Yeah, it's just one of those things. It's, as you and Aaron have been touching on, just you have to keep going, but also using kind of these services can hopefully help make it a bit more pain-free.
No, totally. I guess the good thing about being this part of Glasgow is you have obviously your online stuff, your different apps, plus the Uni Hub, and also you have so many shops around here that definitely are always looking for staff. So, and yeah, like you said, that you touched on, Alice, I think it's that sort of personable, sort of face-to-face can be quite nice, I think, for smaller companies to almost have like this person's interested in my thing. And I think, yeah, definitely that face-to-face interaction is much nicer than hearing no or hear nothing at all.
Yeah. Well, and then like I want to add one more thing. Like from the career service, you can subscribe to their email. I don't know, like you can open their website and then like you can receive every week opportunity in Glasgow part-time, whether it's in charities workshop or it's in a, like in the university or as a research assistant. They have so many opportunities for every degree, bachelor, master, or even PhD. So like even until today, I still subscribe to it because I also look for jobs. It's very helpful from the university.
Yeah. I think there's so many kind of tools that you can kind of get involved with. Has anyone done any of the kind of workshops that the Career Service has put on? Anything that they've gone along to or found super useful?
Yeah, I found them really good fun in terms of like, it can be a little bit awkward at first, but I think just sort of yourself in that environment, just thinking, everyone here's in the same boat and we're all looking for a job, we're looking just make the connection of people being there. One person that I'd met from one of those workshops ended up offering me a job somewhere. I couldn't do it, but the thought of, if I could do it, it was definitely an option. It's really ideal to make that connection, even just to make sort of friends if you're coming from abroad. I think moving somewhere else, having friends, having a community around you is always going to make life a little bit easier. Having friends, having a social circle as such. So I think, you could also use it as a way, forgetting just the job aspect, use it as a way to make connections, meet people, expand your social circle as such. But yeah, there's always going to be things, people there to meet and to talk to. And that, I think, definitely opportunity can come from something like that.
No, that's brilliant. You kind of touched, Aaron, on, obviously I know that you're from Glasgow, but when you're coming from further away, like yourself, Yessi, when you're coming from Indonesia or further around the world, having those kind of tools and maybe making that community, it just kind of opens a few doors that maybe might not have been opened if you didn't have that kind of service available. But we've also kind of launched at the University of Glasgow, we kind of have a new partnership with Student Circus. So that's actually a really good tool for international students as well, because that's where kind of jobs are listed both in the UK for international students, but also kind of abroad as well, which is kind of a new service that we've been launching. So I think the university is always trying to kind of think about what gaps we might have and how best, listening to the students, finding out what else we can do to kind of make the path a bit easier from becoming a student going right through to kind of the working world. Obviously working maybe throughout the time if you choose to do so, but also once you graduate. It's a big decision. What are you going to do once you graduate as well? So having all of that available and as many options as possible is pretty good.
Wow. I'm interested in that new application because I think using LinkedIn and also Indeed, they give us like a modules, I don't know. And then like the title of it is like how to make your LinkedIn looks better. And it's like, oh my God, we should like learning this. And it's really helpful. But now we have the application, like university collaborated with an application to find for a job. I think it would be useful for me and also for the future students. I would be interested to sign up on the application now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, same. You can get round onto it's on the website now, so there's lots of good hints and tips of everything that you can do with Student Circus. But Serena, you touched on kind of volunteering kind of opportunities and things like that when you are maybe starting your posts on LinkedIn. Is there any kind of volunteer work you've been up to?
Yeah, so for me, I am I'm about to be a fourth year. So I kind of started sports a bit late at uni. I started last year, so very late. But I'm already volunteering as the publicity, which is like social media for the uni rugby, for the women's. It's honestly such a great opportunity. I think a lot of the time people often find that, or they assume that volunteering opportunities, because you're not being paid for them, it's not really worth it. And honestly, I think it is 100%. I have learned so much about not just the sport and obviously communicating with people, but also how businesses and how these teams run. And it's honestly taught me so much about like organization, things that I can transfer into my like paid jobs or my career further on. And I think if you have the opportunity and do have the time and you find a volunteering, whether it's Freshers Week, Refreshers Week, fight nights, or any kind of event on the uni, or even just some charities or charity shops in town, I would 100% recommend it because it really does teach you things. It also gives you experience. Even though you're obviously a lot of the time not being paid for it, it's still really valuable. And it also is great for networking, I think, 100%. Like I've met so many fantastic people, so many companies as well through doing things like this. So it's really, really good.
I think you touched on it perfectly, Trina, about the word experience. I always get told from every application of a job, it's you lack experience. But it's the constant battle of, okay, well, I lack experience. If you don't give me experience, how am I meant to get experience? But I think with university, even if it's free experience, it's experience. And I think that's so worthwhile using because it's the most annoying thing being told you don't have experience. Well, yeah, I'm 21. I shouldn't, of course, have no experience. But if you have something, that's better than nothing, I guess. So experience in itself, whether it's paid or not paid, I definitely think it's always worthwhile.
talking about like the unpaid volunteer experience, as I am like a master student here and I need to catch up with many things in a year. Actually, it's kind of hard, but then like I experienced volunteering in Glasgow University Catholic Association. So it's my friend actually in that society, and then like they said like we need someone to volunteer to cook for a food for a student, and then like I volunteer in that society, and it's like, oh wow, it's I know a lot of people and they are really good, and now we are connected each other. So I know a lot of people, and like I know a job from them sometimes, like, oh, are you study education? There's an opportunity to be a teacher here, and I was like, oh wow, this is how connection work. And I was amazed. Even until today, I'm still amazed.
I think that's it. It's like the kind of network and the community, which you have all touched on so much throughout this episode. If basically that is part of it. It's like building that network. That's how you hear about a lot of opportunities as well. So it's really good to do these volunteer. It makes you feel good to volunteer, but it's also the experience and the skills that you can have for your future work that shows employers that you're doing things out with just your studies as well, that you're, doing with your extra time, which is really valuable. And I think that always comes across well for future employment, as well as kind of you enjoying it in that moment. And just talking about kind of experiences and things like that as well. I know that the university has like kind of study abroad opportunities. Has anyone on the call had any of those opportunities? If you've gone to study abroad?
Yeah, I just got back from my year in Madrid in Spain. And
Madrid.
and my
Great
advice to
place.
anyone who can study abroad, if you can, then absolutely do it. It's quite honestly the best year of anyone's life. My older sister did it maybe 10 years ago as well. I have loads of friends that did it this last year. It's one of the most amazing experiences ever in terms of people you meet, things you get involved in. I ended up taking up things like salsa classes, got involved in seven-side football. I still can't dance, but I mean, it was good fun. And like you guys talked about the community, moving somewhere, making friends, it makes life so much easier. Whether it's related to jobs or not, it doesn't really matter. Just giving yourself that sort of base, that community of friends around you is so much fun. And I think I'm actually trying to find some salsa stuff in Glasgow, but that's a different topic, I guess. But I think in general, just having that other experience, having that other sort of, just for you as a person, how much you grow having to go abroad, do all your sort of visa paperwork stuff, all your sort of doing it all yourself, your own flat with like, I was in a flat with 5 total strangers at first, doing all those kind of things. Just at the end of the year, you come back and you feel a totally different person in terms of how much you've grown. That's exactly how I feel. So definitely my advice to anyone who has a chance to do a year abroad, absolutely go for it.
Thanks, Aaron. And you'll be happy to hear there is a Salsa and Latin Dance Society at the University of Glasgow, as far as I can see. So there you go.
maybe they'll take me if I'm lucky. We'll see.
Yeah, exactly. You'll have to prove yourself. So any final thoughts, guys, on careers? Any kind of final pieces of advice that you'd have for anyone who's listening today?
I would definitely say utilise everything that they offer. And utilise any volunteering opportunities, because it might not seem like a good transaction, but it is. You're helping out and you're also getting experience, which is going to help you out. But yeah, apply for everything and anything that looks fun to you, and take any classes that you think would help you be more confident in applying for things.
Yeah, totally. I would say just get out there. Don't be disheartened if you get some no's. You will get some no's. You got to just, I guess, enjoy the struggle. There will be light in the end of the tunnel, I guess, at some point. But yeah, get out there, get involved as much as you can, and fingers crossed something will work out in the end.
Well, for me, it's like if I can close it with one reminder, I think opportunities are not to be waited for, but also to be created. So keep learning, keep connecting, and never be afraid to connect.
That's so fantastic. That's so fantastic to hear. The community is always kind of one of the key pieces I'm going to take away from today, for sure.
We hope this episode has been useful. If you're interested in finding out more, you'll find the links you need in the show notes. And you can visit glasgow.ac.uk/get to know Glasgow. Thank you for listening, and bye for now.